Just as a little note, if you see the Polyrhacus dive worker carrying about a large ant, that is a queen, which has, I believe, recently mated with and torn its wings off. And for some reason, the workers decided to carry it around for the last half an hour or so. It's just heading back towards the nest, so it might come back into view. Keep your eyes peeled. Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Pick the Table Chat Show. This is Season 5, Episode 8, or something crazy like that, and we are well into, I don't know, close to 100 videos of these streams now. That's absolutely crazy, close to 100 episodes. They are all getting on Spotify and on the podcast channels, so if you have missed any, and you want to listen to them on the way to work or something, check it out on the podcasts. But a massive welcome to everyone on all the different channels and on the podcast channels listening in the future. So we've got a few random things to talk about tonight, not a massive amount again. There's just not a lot happening on the ant front. It's mainly on the admin front at the moment. And you know me, I'm not going to tell you any of my secrets at the moment. But we have reached over 45,000 views on YouTube now. That's quite impressive, isn't it? It's like 45,500 now. So it's actually been over that for a while, but I haven't noticed. But I'm quite happy with that. Good evening, Dawn Weaving. Thanks for joining. And good evening, everyone else. Katrina, KB, Becky, Creepy, and Leanne. Anyone else that's here, good evening. What was I saying? Yeah, so we've had over 45,000 views on YouTube. I was really impressed with that. I didn't realize it was that much. A couple of my videos have got like a few thousand views each now. I suppose that's sort of contributing towards it, but I didn't realize it was that much. Well on the way to 100,000 views, which is like the next big big milestone for us as such, and to get 1,000 subscribers, which we are heading towards as well. But we're not too worried about the subscribers and YouTube stuff. It's mainly the overall, we could say. So what else has been happening? This nest you can see in front of you, absolutely crazy. They're eating like 50 odd waxworms at the moment. You might have seen the video I released just yesterday about this multi-species tank. They've been having their nuptial flight, which we've been keeping track of via these streams for the last couple of weeks. I have actually managed to test tube a couple of the newly mated queens, so they will be coming onto the store fairly soon. It wasn't easy to get in there amongst the workers and whatnot, because they tend to be mating on top of the nest, but I have managed to get a couple into test tubes, so they'll be going on the store soon. Yeah, keep your eyes open for them. They're going to be coming on probably at the same time as the rest of the massive store update, restock, whatever you want to call it, happens. We're changing the view of things on the website. We're changing the way it all kind of looks and runs. And we're obviously restocking at the same time. So it's all sort of happening at once. There's not a lot on the shop at the moment, but you're still welcome to have a look. So what else is happening in this tank? I told you in the video that I've placed in some cocktail sticks to help with the expansion of the nest. Now that is going absolutely perfect. I chucked in a bit of sphagnum moss, as I usually do, for nesting materials, and literally overnight they've used it all and added another layer or two on top of the nest, which is pretty much what I wanted, like outwards rather than upwards, which, like I say, is where we want them to be heading. Rather than up into the sky and out of the tank, because that would be a nightmare situation. So yeah, that's quite impressive. The nest is getting quite large now, quite intimidating if you need to get close to it. I'll say that from experience of getting the queens out, but it's good fun, and I think we're going to get another massive expansion now we've got all of those new queens from the nuptial flight. I don't want to think about how many queens we could possibly have. I mean, you can, if you look into the center of the massive ants, I know it's probably fuzzy and not that great quality wise, but in the very center, just to the side, there's a ant with wings. Now that is a queen that I think has already been mated with. She hasn't torn her wings off yet. She's come down to get a meal before going back into the nest to tear her wings off. Now it is quite interesting, like when I have gone in to get the queens from on top of the nest, the colony obviously goes nuts, and the queens, they move about with the males still attached. I've only seen the males unattach a couple of times, but they soon reattach. And they'll literally walk back into the nest, which the nest entrance they've actually had to widen so that the queens can enter and exit at will, basically, because where it was only workers coming out before, the nest entrances were very small, and they've had to open a lot of them up wider. You can see the difference quite substantially. We have got our little Evie running about tonight, so you might hear Evie in the background, you might not. She just ran into, I'm going to say the studio, but it's not the studio, it's the ant corner, you know. She just ran into the ant corner and she's telling us to share. I don't know what she wants us to share. We haven't actually got anything, but she's about. So, something else that has come up lately. Now, this is a random one, and I don't really know how to go about it. Product testing. I need a couple of willing people, willing and not too busy. I need them to actually take notes of what, you know, actually put some effort in. So you need to have a bit of free time, and I'm going to send you a couple of our new products that we're working on over the course of the next few weeks or months or whatnot, as they become more available, as going through different stages of testing, we could say. And you'll get to be the first ones to try the new products. And I'll even give you an ant colony for free to try them with, because I don't want to upset the balance of your ant colonies or anything. So yeah, you're up for it. Cool. If you're up for it, send me a message over Facebook, and I'll talk to you details. Then I don't want to say publicly on stream the sorts of things that you'll be testing, because obviously I don't want to give things away. But like I say, we've been undergoing a massive restock, redesign, and all of that lot. Good evening, Dino. Thank you for joining. God, I feel like I've got the troops behind me tonight. Everyone's here. Thank you. I'm just saying, Dino, about product testing. I'm not saying any details as to what, but I'm recruiting a couple of product testers, aren't we? Yeah, Dino's already going to be a product tester. Obviously, Dino's going to be involved. Yeah, obviously, that's it. He doesn't get a choice. He's like the second, he's the go-to guy. You know what I mean? So yeah, Dino's going to be getting an ant colony and some products to test out. They are in their second stage of testing, technically, or second stage of testing, and you'll get them in the next stage. But yeah, cool. Make sure you send me messages on Facebook though, because I can't track it on here who says yes and no, and I haven't got a pen in front of me. But I'll have it on my phone then, you know what I mean? And I'll be able to reference it and sort it out properly. But yeah, it's going to be good. I'm looking forward to it. I'm super excited about it. I'm super excited. I'm always super excited, as you always know. Not so much lately, but I am always excited. I just haven't got the energy to show it. Oh dear. But so what am I plowing my crazy amounts of energy into at the minute? Because I am working hard on a few things. Oh, there's a ping on my phone. I should silence that, shouldn't I? That's bad. Working whatever. Working ethics. I don't know. I should have silenced that before I started stream. Anyways, I was sending a message. Yeah, that's absolutely brilliant. Thank you, Dean. So yeah, what have I working on? Lots of stuff, obviously, lots of stuff on the store, lots of stuff on the website. The website's had a few little updates, and it's getting a few more updates very shortly. A little bit of a redesign, a little bit of a relook. Is that, you know what I mean? It was going to look a little bit yeah, so that's happening. The exhibition, that's what we want to talk about, isn't it? I'm not going to give you any updates yet, I'm afraid, but I tell you, even on the 1st of October, I'm not going to give you a massive update. I'm not going to tell you any details of who is coming. I'm not going to tell you any details of what is actually happening or who to expect to see. You're just going to know roughly what's going to be going on during the day and what kind of animals and insects and stuff will be available for viewing or purchase. But I'm not going to be giving away any names of traders or sellers or anything like that just yet. They're going to be doing a lot of the advertising themselves, putting up posters and stuff when they feel ready. So you're going to have to wait for that. I'm not giving away lots of my details and much closer to the event. But I will say, we are about halfway booked in vendors and traders and stuff and lecturers, and we're about halfway full already, which is really impressive. It's like what's taken me half the time of the last show, less than half the time of the last show, to get to the same point. So it's been, a lot of work still, don't get me wrong, but it's going really well. We made a really good impression and a really good footprint with our first show in Bristol. The traders have obviously talked between themselves and said how much effort we put in and the fact it was a good day. So that's really cool. Like I say, we're getting some really great responses. Traders approaching us rather than us approaching them, which is really cool, really nice. And Sheffield's looking to be an absolute spectacular event. I cannot wait to unveil it for the day. It's going to be a lot less stressful for me. There's a lot less that I need to kind of run about and do on the day as well. So I'm going to be less stressed. So please do. If we didn't get a good conversation at Bristol, come over and have a chat with me at Sheffield, because I'll be in a much more easy talkative mood. You know what I mean? Oh dear. But okay, so apart from the Sheffield show, what else we're working on more shows. Bristol, I'm not going to tell you anything about Bristol yet, but it's going to be in August of next year. It's going to be fantastic. We're already taking bookings for Bristol, traders, and also it's fantastic. So that show is already well underway as well. On top of that, I'm doing a much smaller show. It's not going to be the Great Ant Exhibition. It's going to be called something completely different. I'm doing a much smaller show here in Weymouth in May of next year. So that's 3 shows that I'm organising this year. And May's show, like I say, it's going to be here in Weymouth. It's going to be probably £5 a ticket. Again, if you're local to the area, come check it out. It's not going to be ants. It's going to be ants, inverts, wildlife, everything natural from around the Jurassic Coast. Because the Jurassic Coast, if you don't know it, is one of the most fantastic landscapes that we have here in the UK. Some of the wildlife we've got, some of the history we've got, and just the fossils and stuff. Like we've got dinosaur fossils going back like millions of years, hundreds of millions of years. Great records of great fossils here. Some amazing fossils come out of the ground, and I thought it's going to be great to showcase some of the local talent we've got based around the wildlife in the area, because I mean, on Portland alone, we have a very rare ant colony that I know someone who's been studying it for about 6 years now, and they're dying to show off their findings. Someone else has a wildlife gallery that they've been going out like all the time. They go out and study and take photos of insects around the Jurassic Coast area and things like that. It's going to be an absolute fantastic show. Very different to the Great Ant Exhibition, though, so don't expect the same thing. It's going to be a different event, but it's going to be amazing, and I think it's really going to benefit the local area. So yeah, if you're local to Dorset, come check it out. It's going to be a great day, middle of May. I can't tell you any more details than that yet. As you know, we just don't let out any. So what else is happening? Oh my God, right. So we're going to go a little bit off subject now. Now we're all kind of a little nerdy. Has anybody watched the Andor series yet? Leave me a little comment in the comment section. Andor, I didn't know what to expect. I can honestly say I was a little bit, I knew it wasn't going to be Jedis. It was going to be a little bit different Star Wars, but I didn't know what to expect. And after watching the first 3 episodes, I'm going to say you could pretty much take it out, place it anywhere, and it didn't have to be Star Wars. You know what I mean? It's good. Like, don't get me wrong, I've enjoyed it, but it's not like Obi-Wan where I was craving the next episode. I'm just kind of like a bit blasé about it. It's taken me almost a week to watch it. Whereas, has anyone watched the Lord of the Rings series, Ring of Power, that has just come out? Now that is an amazing series. I'm really enjoying that. Again, lots of controversy about it because they're going a little bit their own way about it, but they've got right to do that. They've brought rights to the second era, a lot of which Tolkien didn't write, so they've got every right to kind of do that. But a lot of people don't like it. Obviously, you know my stance on everything: live and let live and enjoy it. So you won't find me complaining about it, but I have obviously noticed a few. But I I like things with lots of lore and theories behind it and whatnot. I love the fact that they're using a lot of the landscape and features from the Lord of the Rings books. I think that's really cool. We all go nuts for those sorts of references, don't we? So what else is going on apart from that? Not a lot really. It's mainly ant stuff, and like I say, I've watched a few of those episodes and series just to keep track. You've got to separate your time sometimes. If I was to work all the time as we know, I sort of burn myself out, and it does slowly kill me off. So I've started taking a few more breaks. I've actually this is something I am slightly excited about. I've made a week planner, and like I've written up what I need to do on each day to like sort of keep myself organized. I've never done that before. I just sort of wing it and go with whatever my bin's on the day, which I expect I still will to a point, but now I actually know what I need to do each day, which is really helpful. Because some days I sit down at the computer and I start doing one thing, and I spend all day doing one thing, and then I'm like, oh no, I was meant to have done this, and I haven't even started. I can't tell you examples, to be honest. But yeah, there's quite a few times that I sit down and do completely the wrong focus of work. Like if I'm meant to be preparing for a workshop that I'm doing, I'll sit down and I'll start doing like exhibition work, and then I'll get to like the end of the day and be like, oh no, I was meant to have written my script or whatever. And so yeah, this will really help me sort of organize my day. So I'm sort of excited about that. Katrina, you've seen the Rings of Powers, but you've not seen Star Wars yet. See, that's kind of, yeah, I was desperate to watch the Rings of Powers. Star Wars series, I've enjoyed it, but it was a little bit like, right, I'm watching, yeah, and only watch 2 at a time every 2 weeks. But I will, yeah, that's fair. See, I did that with Vikings. I actually waited until the entire series came out, and then I started watching them because I hate waiting. I absolutely hate waiting. But there's some things that I just don't want to wait even longer for. You know what I mean? The Lord of the Rings one, I was waiting for so long for it to come out. I do like Lord of the Rings. I love all the different lore. I think Tolkien is amazing, and the world he created is fantastic. So yeah, you know what I mean. We'll have to talk about that in detail. We won't do it on here because we don't want to do any spoilers, but we will revisit the topic later on in the season, I expect, and just talk a bit more about it, without too many spoilers, of course. Oh, no, I thought Mr. T was just coming out, but no, he's just stretching his legs. Mr. T, my tarantula, he spends an awful lot of time doing nothing. Now, if I sat around doing nothing that long, I'd be bored. Like, here's an interesting thing. Do animals get bored? Like, I know obviously dogs, you can see animals get bored. So this is just coming off my brain now. This isn't scripted at all. So bear in mind. They don't do much at all. Yeah, he's right. So, but do they get bored? You know what I mean? Are they just sat there like, do they go into like a comatose state where time passes without relevance and noticing? Or do they just sit there like, I'm really bored until it's time to go off and eat? You know what I mean? It's a little bit like, interesting. A lot of insects like ants and stuff, they don't really hang about not doing a lot for long. But some, I mean, my praying mantis, once he's like, I fed him yesterday and he's basically not doing a lot. He stands still a lot of the time. He walks about a bit and he climbs a bit and whatnot. But do you ever think that they're just bored? Like when they stand in one spot for like an hour or something, just watching you, because he does, he'll stand there literally watching and watching and watching, eyes pinned on me. Do you think they ever just get bored and they're just watching you because there's nothing to do? I don't know. Dogs and cats do because they have a real brain. Yes, no, that does make sense. Like there's that different level, isn't there, where they've got that actual intelligence where you can interact with them. So it's that interaction, I suppose. They need interaction and stimulation. So like, but you can interact with them. They're quite intelligent. Wednesday, probably not Sunday. Dawn will chat. Yeah, Katrina, that's absolutely fine. Obviously, best of luck. We won't go into it in detail on the stream, but best of luck and join us back when you are able to. We will miss you massively with your amazing presence here. Obviously, bringing joy and happiness to the stream and everywhere you go. We will miss it. Like they have an intelligent brain where that's what I'm saying, Dean. So it's like it's that stimulation, isn't it? So pets which need stimulation, which aren't cats and dogs and stuff. Would you say hamsters need stimulation? Hamsters do get bored because they go in their wheels, which apparently are really bad. Like, you know what I mean? Like hamsters run like miles upon miles. I was reading up on hamsters at one point actually, and like we keep them in little cages. Apparently they actually do much better in like big bioactive setups, and that's because they need such space to like stretch and use their energy up and hunt and all of that lot. It's actually really interesting how you should actually be keeping a hamster to how we do keep hamsters. And I'm sure that's probably the same with a lot of animals. Let's be honest, most animals are going to do better in a bioactive environment. Just because it's natural rather than a plastic cage or whatever. But it is interesting. It is. My sister's hamster was that fat it got stuck in the tube and passed away. Oh my god, that's horrific. I used to have a hamster, and he was called Cotton originally because he was, and then we changed his name to Colin the hamster, and he was an absolute legend. He used to sit there, and like I'd be sat there with back when I was like 18, and I'd sit there with my guy mates, and we'd all be like watching telly or whatnot. He'd come sit on his little wooden platform and sit there and watch us and join in with the conversation. And Colin was awesome. He was like a legend amongst the guys. Everyone loved Colin the hamster. Um, and yeah, he actually lasted like 13 years or something. I had him a ridiculously long time. When he passed, I was pretty devastated. Um, Weirdly, he came out and like pretty much died in his spot where he would stare at us from. So we didn't even notice for like the first hour, whatnot. He was just very still, and then we would poked him, and he was gone. But we actually buried him in the end, which hopefully is the best thing to do. Let him go back into the earth. But I would, it's one of those things. Like, what do you do with dead pets? We took. We gotta be careful. Go a little bit quiet. In fact, so our dog went to the farm, obviously. Um, but so that happened without going into detail. Um, but hamster, where do you take like smaller things? Because like if you've got a rabbit, what do you do with your rabbit if it dies? I actually don't know. Like, is there a designated place? Do the vets take dead pets and cremate them, or just get rid of them, or I don't know. And she was stood in the house with the hamster, and she said the truth is crying. Saying, Dean say, "Oh man, that is." He burst out laughing. It's absolutely brutal, but I would probably be laughing as well. Right, here's something. You say about bursting out laughing. I was watching, the shorts and stuff that you get to watch on YouTube. There was one earlier. It was brilliant. I gotta tell you about it. So there's a guy on a balcony, and there's two women below having a cigarette break or whatever, and he chucks them each a marshmallow, and they catch it in their mouth. One of them takes it out and like chuck another one. So he throws an egg and it gets her right in her mouth. Instant like regret. She's throw it on. Yeah, it was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So if you see that one, watch it to the end. I couldn't stop laughing for ages, but that's just my sense of humour. Tom has a large what? Feed it to my large snake. I haven't got a large snake. Well, I don't like saying that. I don't own any slithering snakes. I'm afraid we're gonna go with that one. Yeah. Um, yeah, I don't have any slithering snakes. But yes, in general, I suppose you could feed it to snakes and stuff. But then if you've got a snake and I don't suppose many people have snakes and pet rats that they don't use as feeders. But, if that's your pet rat, do you really want to take it to someone and be like, here you go, feed that to your snake? I mean, it's natural, but it is hard to do if it's your loved pet. Like, that's a hard one. I couldn't do that, I don't think. PHSL. I do not know what PHSL is. Per No, not a clue. I'm really bad with what are they called? Doodads like that. Now, if we got in Kayla, she'd tell me straight away. She knows that sort of thing. She's like teenager in training. Oh, pissing herself laughing. Thank you, Dean. Okay. See, I've never used that. I normally just LOL, but I feel I use that a bit too much. I think everyone does really, but I definitely do. It's almost that every time I type, there'll be an LOL at the end of it almost. Laughing at the conversation. See what roll on the floor, laughing out loud. Yeah, see, I know that one, but it always makes me think you're just woofing at me, woof, or I don't know. You just barked at me. Stop that, Dean. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Rough. Yeah. There's all sorts of ones that kids come out with these days. Big snakes and rabbits. Right. So, yeah, I suppose big snakes do eat rabbits. They eat most things. I've seen a snake. Well, I saw a video, not like I saw it in person. If I saw it in person, I'd be running. Uh, I saw a snake eating like a whole antelope. That's pretty impressive. Like, they ain't moving very far afterwards, but it is pretty impressive. That's really have to. Low. Low. You have a friend that's shortened to low. That yeah right. So actually, I know a guy in the gym, and his name is Low. And again, slightly confusing, not easy. Katrina, here's a question. Did you ever find that signet? Did it ever come back? Did it ever reappear? I've sort of been wondering. You know, it's one of those things I like to know. Looked very impressive, though. See, I watched that Walk with Tim video again. If anyone has watched any videos with Walk with Tim, he does like holiday place reviews and stuff. So I watched the one of Butlins where I went on holiday and where Katrina actually works, and it's a really good video. Actually, he gives a good review of it, and so do I. A great place to go on holiday, and I highly recommend if you're going to go on holiday there because they are really good there. It's one of the better Butlins as well, from what I hear. But no, I enjoyed it. But I was watching that video again, and it was done like 2 or 3 weeks before I visited, so you can actually see how grey the signets are. And then obviously we came and saw them when we were there, and then we came no, we did. You posted those videos, so we can see them in like a little timeline. It's really cool to actually watch the development of just a few weeks difference. Not looked. Didn't want to break my heart over it yet. Fair enough. Yeah, fair. Yeah. It's one of them things. It does happen, but it might have just like I don't know. It does happen, but that's natural. It's nature. At least they've got all the rest, and they seem to be doing well. And you said that they were moving down to the lake at the other end of the park, which to me means they're at that more mature stage where they're probably getting ready to disperse. Now, I'm not that familiar with swans. Do they stay as a family group for long, or do they, once they reach that mature age, do they then fly off in a migration? I mean, I'm like I said, I don't really know with swans. I'm not a massive bird expert. Yeah, ask Ian. Yeah, good idea. Yeah, I'm not a massive bird expert. I do like birds, and my stepdad used to breed birds back when I lived at home, and I think that's kind of why I went off them because they were just everywhere. They talked a lot. They kept you up at night, and they were just annoying, to be honest. I think I kind of went off birds a bit. Fish and anything that kind of Swan, right? So I know they mate together, stay together for life. But what about the kids? What sort of age do the kids leave? Because obviously you don't see like generation upon generation staying with the family. So maybe that's it. Maybe when like say when they reach that mature age of flight, they go off so that the adults can have the next generation of cygnets. Because I don't think I've seen and generation building up to a much larger family group of adults. If you know what I mean, um, yeah, the young wolf, like that's it. So yeah, because like we've got a swan population in Weymouth, and they hang about in their family groups as you know they do, and then they come together into a big group to feed and stuff like that. But over the course of like 13 years, there's only ever the same amount of adults, if you know what I mean. The young don't stay in the area once they become mature. They definitely do leave. So yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Now I'm thinking of it, it makes sense. But it just takes 5 minutes to put my brain into that direction, doesn't it? Right, so I've got a Pringle here. The wife gave me some Pringles. Now, anyone that knows, I don't have teeth. I can eat Pringles, but I have to be very careful. And I've eaten quite a few lately, and I've hurt my gums. Now, do I risk it and eat the Pringles, probably hurt my mouth more, or do I just say it? No, it's really hard. Like I could put in my teeth, but I absolutely hate them things. Like useless. Not useless because they do have some uses. I mean, they're teeth, but I can eat most things without teeth. Ants don't have teeth; they have mandibles. Like let's just pretend my gums are mandibles. Num 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 num. I think we've gone a little bit off topic now, haven't we? I'm just looking back at the nest situation, which is literally rapidly growing in front of my eyes right now. Oh, something just flew. That might have been a male. It might have been a female. It might have been something else flying. Oh no, I can see a couple of males flapping around the tank, which is always cool. Is that what you? Where's our Sarah? Is that what you're calling your? Right, that's a little bit confusing. Right, hang on, everyone on stream. Hold on. Stop the presses. I see an iPad sliding through a little gap between my door. Now, whoever is the holder of the iPad better come in very quietly. Very. Oh. I suppose this one better say hello.
Hello.
We have the amazing Amy up at gone 9:30.
I just remembered I had to bring my iPad in to put it on charge.
Okay, are you going to sleep now?
Yeah.
School tomorrow. We've got a Kayla here as well. Kayla, come say hello.
Hello.
So we have both children here at gone 9:30 on a school night. What would your teachers say if they signed into the stream right now?
Oh my god.
They would say, get to bed. Now, what do you think I'm going to say?
Get to bed.
I think it's time to go to bed. Give me kisses and cuddles. Good night, my beautiful girls.
Bye, viewers.
Good night, Kayla.
Good night. Good night, everyone. I was trying to sign it.
And that is the amazing Amy and Kayla. We need to get Kayla a YouTube name, but I think she's just Kayla on YouTube at the minute still. But either way, that's them. They're going to bed. They shouldn't be up this late regardless. But yeah, Amy is very well behaved. She remembered she still had her iPad, so she brought it in to us without any prompting, which is very good, really, isn't it? She probably could have got away with that for a lot longer. Bless her. Bless her. There's that queen ant walking around. I mean, it's very hard to see because of the light situation. I could dim the lights, but to be honest, I'd just put some more barrier and talcum powder over. Otherwise, I don't really want to be grabbing at them, because then we'll have escaping Polyrhacus dives again. And I've just got that under control over the course of about a week and a half, 2 weeks. It's been a bit of a nightmare. But like I say, I did manage to test tube a couple of Polyrhacus dive queens. So they will be coming onto the website in just a few weeks when they start laying, and we have the full restock, redesign, whatever, everything happening over on the website. So make sure you check that out. Oh, maybe Dean, like I say, you're gonna have to get in there fast. I'm not gonna say how many stock I got, but I didn't get many. You might be able to reserve one. I know someone else is I know at least 3 people now are desperate for them. So they gotta go fast when they do go up. But I'm not. There's gonna be a few different interesting species going up at the same time. So don't put all your rabbits in one hat. Is that the saying? Eggs in one basket? Yeah, something like that. Don't put all your jewels on one crown, Mrs. Queen. No, I'm joking. Oh dear. Yeah, I think you should wait and see what else comes on the store. But there will be some Polyrhacus dives on there. See, I have got a 2 queen colony as well. So there's a 2 queen colony that will be going on there. I currently, and I haven't been able to separate them, have a few workers in there already from this colony because they were all sort of very close and I couldn't get them apart. Now, I am tempted. I'd like to actually hear your verdicts on this, everybody. So, 2 queen colony with workers from this colony would obviously give them that boost of head start because they can feed them and so on and so forth, and care for brood and all of that lot, rather than letting them have their own eggs. So you know what I mean? Is that something that appeals, or should we just stick with? Should I try and separate out those workers so it is just the 2 queens and they start a natural cycle with nanetics? Single. Yeah, single queens will be a lot easier to manage. This is just a 2 queen, and they have obviously grown quite crazy. But yeah, let me know what you think about that. If it's something that appeals to you, having a few workers from this colony, obviously they'll look after the queen. They'll help give her that little bit of a boost. But it is a little bit, not unethical, but what's the word? Not normally done. Uncontroversial? No, I can't remember the word. Unconventional, that's it. Bit unconventional. But no, so I could try again to separate them out, but it is a little bit difficult trying to get workers out of the test tube without the queens coming out of the test tube, and without getting bitten too much, because they do like to bite. So a warning to anyone that does buy Polyrhacus dives: they do like to bite. They're really timid in the first smaller stages, and you won't see a massive amount of activity. And then all of a sudden, when they reach about 1,000 workers, you'll see them non-stop. And the minute you put your hand anywhere near, they will attack, to the point where I could be doing something within the tank, and then when I take my hand out of the tank, like they're still attacking the glass. You know what I mean? You can see the acid drips on the glass, which is really, really cool. See, now that's exactly what I thought, Dean. But I just thought, because, like, obviously I used a really big test tube to grab the queens, so that I didn't damage them in any way. I could just place it over and let them crawl in on their own terms. But they did that, and a few workers managed to get into that one. The other one, wasn't too bad. I managed to get a few in that one without any workers. And then I did it again and managed to get a couple more queens, but there was a worker in there. But I managed to get that worker out, but it did get on my hand, and I think it bit me, but didn't put its acid in, so that's cool. But I did get like a little itchy bite mark. And then there's this one, and like I say, it's a it's a 2-queen colony and a normal size test tube now with workers in there. I was trying to separate the queens out whilst leaving the workers in the larger test tube, but they just basically all ran into the small. I was just like, all right, I'll sort it out later. I wanted to get more queens at that point because I could see a few knocking about. There's been so many queens that have come out of this colony. It's actually been really scary to see. And I'm quite glad that I've managed to get a couple out and test tube them. Just strictly for my own safety. Like, I could end up weaved into the nest myself one night. It's crazy. That we could, like, the nest will reach a certain point where they won't enjoy the crowding anymore, and they will look to be making a satellite nest. Now they will be looking to make that a good few feet, if not a meter or so, away from their current nest. So that would be outside of their tank. So we might, let's say, we're looking at different ways of expanding it. I might just add a whole second tank next to it and like a branch to go between, you know what I mean? But we'll see. We've got a few different options that we're discussing, and I won't bore you with the details and the mathematics behind doing it. But I think we are heading towards the end of the stream now. If there's anything else that you want to talk to me about, I pressed thing, didn't I? Whoops. Sorry. How long's that been like that? Probably quite a while. That's my fault. Sorry, everyone. What was I saying? Yeah, right. So I don't know how long ago we lost the audio, so I'm just going to repeat myself again. Polyrhacus dives, they do bite, they do sting, and when they get to a colony of about 1,000 workers, they do tend to get a bit more aggressive. So if you are buying them, be careful. Just be aware of what you're buying. You know, we all know that with ants, but I like to give that little bit of a warning. Last question. Yeah, so any more last questions and so on, seconds, that's okay then. Any more questions and so on, and I am going to head on towards ending the stream. But I think we are almost done. A massive thank you to you all for joining tonight. You're all absolutely spectacular and amazing. We will be here again on Wednesday and Sunday, as always, 8:30 for the pre-show feed and 9 o'clock for the talky bit. Thank you again all for joining. Thank you to our sponsors, Answer Us and Valhalla, for keeping us going with everything that they do. And always, a massive thank you to our Patreon supporters, Katrina, Stacey, and Jason. You're absolutely spectacular as well. Anyone else that's interested in becoming Patreon, feel free to check it out. It's only £3 a month, but that support does help massively in the Ant Corner. If you need me, you know where to get me. I'm on most of the social media platforms. I am there. I am reading your messages and I do reply. I'm just not so active in the communal chats right now just because I've got a million things on my mind. But I am still there and I keep an eye on everything, as you know. And so to my brilliant moderators, who I want to say a massive thank you to, Katrina and Dino. And we did have Leanne here as well, who has recently joined us over in Facebook. So a massive thank you to all of our moderators and all the moderators which haven't joined us tonight. That's about it. So without further ado, I'm going to love you and leave you. I'll see you again soon, Ant fans. It's been spectacular. Good night.